my name is Sammy. On my channel I talk about human design. Today we're going to talk about the gate of Sythesis, the gate 19 to 49. I have this in my channel, so I'll be using my personal experience to talk about it. So we're going to start with talking about the two different gates. We have the gate 19, which is the gate of wanting. It's a very sensitive channel. People with the gate 19 need to understand that they are very sensitive people. Growing up, I can see how gate 19, sometimes people talk about how yelling or doing things in a form of like very stern voices don't tend to work with people with the gate 19. Talking about things in a more calm manner. If you're a parent or something like that and you have a kid with the gate 19, it's really important that you know that. My mom always says, I wish I would have known you had this gate. Not that she ever yelled at me or anything, but I do remember being very sensitive to like people who would yell. And even now, like I don't really have people in my life that yell or get like, I mean, you can yell or get upset about stuff that like has nothing to do with me, but when it has to do with like how things are talked out, if it's my friendships, my relationships, stuff like that, it's always in a calmer manner because I kind of just shut down when it's like people are yelling. Which leads me to gate 19, or gate 49, I'm sorry, and that's going to be in the solar plexus. So it's gate 19 at the bottom there at the root, and it's meeting the solar plexus, and it's going to be the 49 that's going to be coming down to the gate 19. The gate 49 is going to be the gate of principles. So the gate of principles is all about standing in your principles. So for me, what my principles are, people in my life know that I don't like yelling. It's as simple as that. I know it sounds really silly, but really that is one of my core principles. I don't like being around people that like yell or scream about things. I like people that can come to me in a calmer manner, because just like that, I don't like to react to things in the moment either. I'm an emotional being, so I need time. And so people that kind of react in the moment or get heated and can't stop, it triggers something in me and it makes me become a people pleaser. And I know this about myself. That's not saying that things can never happen or that things don't happen, but people in my life know that that's important to me and know that that's a principle of mine that I stand in. So we'll get onto that in a little bit more later, but I just wanted to say that gate 19 is the gate of approach in I Ching, and it's also in the sign Aquarius. Gate 49 is also going to be in the sign Aquarius, and I love the I Ching word for it, which is the gate of, or it's revolution is what it's called in I Ching. So when you put the 19 and 49 together, you're going to get the gate of Sythesis. So what is this all about? What does this mean? I broke them down into the two gates at the beginning because I just think it's important to kind of know where those two are coming from. And then when you put them together, you get the gate of Sythesis. So what this gate or what this channel really is, and what I see it as in my own life, is it starts with this need for like fundamental stuff, like the foundation of being a human being. It is always rooted in this feeling of being grounded for me. It's where I feel like my emotions are able to be grounded. It's where I feel like a lot of the ability for me to come up with more practical solutions come in because of this gate, because my principles stand in practicality of knowing that people are not perfect, knowing that I am not perfect. When I come up with the principles of things that I live by or things that I know need to be true in my relationships or my friendships and the way I live out, have to be things that I'm capable of, as well as I can't be asking other people to do things that are out of my control or out of a reality that is just not fair. So a lot of my principles are rooted in fairness and are rooted in, you know, being grounded, being what it really means to be a human being. I think is really a lot in this channel. Because that gate 19 is so sensitive, I'm also very sensitive to other people's emotions and how other people react and how other people can be like what other people can really give or take from a relationship. For a long time, this gate, I don't feel like, or this channel for me was a big struggle, because I was always picking relationships where I was silent and I did not speak my principles. The reason that the gate 49 is so important to recognize in this is because you're sensitive in this gate 19. And so this is where all the things that are rooted in being a human, having a full fridge, having lots of food, having all of these like food, water, shelter, having these as very stable things. I think stability is probably one of my favorite things to recognize in another person, because one, it keeps me stable and it keeps me on a track where I know that I want other people in my life to have stability to some extent. I don't mean stability in the sense that they're very consistent with everything that they do, because a lot of my chart and a lot of who I am is about experiences, and I have a lot of friends that are profiles of 1-3 and they need to experience things and figure things out, and I love that. I love all of those things. None of those things have to do with stability, in my opinion. What is stability to me is once something is formed or once something is recognized between two people or in a life, or whether it's, you know, money or you know, just getting food or stuff that we really kind of forget sometimes about as being human beings. Like, we get so caught up in all these like bigger things, but we forget that like there's staple things as human beings that like make us feel more comfortable, like having a full fridge. And for me, these things are really important. Coming to the table and talking about things in a calm voice is really important to me. So all of these things are rooted in my gate 19, and they move into gate 49 because gate 49 is all about whether or not to bring someone into a relationship with me. It really is about that marriage, that contract between two people. Now, I don't think about this gate as just necessarily being about relationships, although again, I will talk about how it has come up in my relationships and what I know to be true about myself now compared to how I used to. This channel is a lot of the reason I'm so thankful that I found human design, because it really clicked in my head how important relationships are in my life, that I am capable of loving someone to this unconditional degree, and that I am capable of being very sensitive and to be a good partner to someone. But in order for me to really be able to be balanced in this area, I needed to understand that this was not about people pleasing or fitting a front or being someone that I wasn't. It was about standing in my own principles. Gate 49 is all about principles. So if I don't stand in my own principles, and if I become a people pleaser, or if I push over and I allow someone to step over my principles again and again and again, I will never be happy. Because gate 49, when someone steps over your principles, I'm not saying that there can't be like a wiggle room here, or that like, oh, I'm gone if you mess up one time. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that people who are in my life know that these things are fundamentally true to me and that they won't be changing anytime soon. So by allowing myself to really figure out what I needed, what my principles were, and who I was, allowed me to start dating, allowed me to start being around people or have even friends that also stood in those principles, or also were accepting and understanding and respectful of my principles. Just because you have a principle that may be different than someone else doesn't mean you can't be in a relationship with them. It means that they have to respect that, whatever that means for you. So if it is someone who was yelling all the time and could not fix that, that's a principle for me. I know that I would not work with that energy. It allows you to not date people that you really know will not stand in things that you need. It is okay to need and to stand in your own principles. That took me a really, really long time to understand. Like, it is absolutely okay for you to stand your ground and to need and understand and own who you are. There is no problem. There's no reason to be apologetic about it. When you become apologetic about your own principles, that's when you become a people pleaser, and I am telling you, it will never make you happy. You will end up being miserable. That is when anger comes out. That is when frustration, bitterness, anything that is your not self theme. That is, like, for me, it's being a projector, so the bitterness comes out. I'm also a 5-1, so if I am not standing in my principles, if I am not loving myself for who I am never going to be happy. I'm going to be completely in my not self theme and feel myself going into chaos. Chaos is like the not self theme of gate 49, because you're jumping from one thing to another, not ever taking a step back and realizing, where did I go wrong? What did my principles that were broken, and what are they to begin with? How many people with this gate or this channel, gate 19 or gate 49, have you really thought about what your principles are? Have you really thought about if you're a sensitive person? Have you thought about these things? Because if you have this channel, it is important for you to own your emotional wave. It is important for you to own your emotions in general. And it is important for you to stand in them, to understand that you are an emotional being who is going to have to go through the emotional wave to understand what it is that they really truly need, or what you truly need. You have to be able to give yourself that time and to figure it out. And that's why human design is so great, because it makes you figure out who you are first before you go running around figuring out how your chart fits with other people. So again, as I always say on my channel, it's not necessarily about figuring out who you're best suited with or trying to figure out human design for some quick fix. It's about literally taking in these channels or these gates and figuring out, how is this important in my life? How does this play out in my life? And how have I seen this theme not work out before? So many of us forget that. Like, there are so many lessons that we have learned in this life from karmic stuff that we needed to figure out. And we need to be thankful for them, because they taught us something. Even the most negative situations taught us something. So instead of just sitting there being bitter about them or figuring out or just not thinking about it, think about those things that caused you pain and how you don't want to end up there again. What was it that was broken in that? What did you need to change about yourself? And be grateful for the lesson that you learned. Because I promise you, if you don't learn it the first time, you're going to end up learning it again. Because that's what happened with me in relationships, was I kept being a people pleaser. I kept trying to fit some box, and it ended up with me being in really destructive relationships where I was angry. I was an angry person, and I have like not a lot of anger in my soul. I have other things that play out, like the bitterness theme or anything like that. But when if I'm angry, that's usually not my emotion. But if I'm around people that are really angry and don't know how to talk about things constructively, it's like chaos for me. But it's okay. It's not like I'm sitting there judging those people or saying those people didn't teach me something or saying that the way that they figure things out is wrong. I'm just saying that I know that that does not work with my energy. And by knowing those things and standing in those things, it gives me a leg up, because I'm able to understand whether or not someone's friendship or relationship will work for me, and if they do, like what kind of dynamic I could have with that person.